Yeah, we're live.
All right, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this podcast. Welcome to Prophecy Montana. My name is Kerry. We have the good Dr. Paul, we have Ricky, and we have Dave Stanton with us.
Always bringing up the rear.
Yeah.
Cabooses are fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know how they say, but least but not, last but not least. Yeah. Well, according to the Bible, that's the same, right? First shall be last and last shall be first.
Don't worry, I'm usually last. Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe I'm just
I mix it up to keep you all, But listen, we're going to talk about a subject today. Maybe a lot of you guys haven't thought about. I know just recently I've been kind of like formulating this idea in my head. I'm still formulating it, so I'm going to have you guys help me out here a little bit. But is there this plan to demonize God's last day church? And I'll explain a little bit, as we get into this, what I mean by that. And, is there a buildup somehow to how people are viewing Adventists in these last days? Because we know through the spirit of prophecy, through the Bible, that there'll be a death decree eventually that'll go out that, okay, these people are the ones that are causing all the problems. We need to go out. And how's that going to happen? I've been thinking about this a lot. And a couple of things, one of the things I've noticed is my friends, when I talk to them, my non-Adventist Christian friends, are seeing me as aligned with some of these militant vegans or vegetarians that you're seeing coming out. With what's that guy's name again that's pushing
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Well, he's buying up all the farmland. He's making lab meat, and he's pushing everyone to go. Yeah,
and the crickets and the mealworms and all this stuff. And it seems to be like this movement, if you will, that's kind of attached for right now anyways to the wokeism that's taking place and this save the world and all of this that's going on. But the Adventists are being stereotyped as one of them because, we're vegetarians. So we're trying to save the animals. We must be trying to save the animals.
That's the basis for the whole thing is cruelty to animals. It has nothing to do with health.
Right.
It's strictly to save the animals. Well, how far does that go?
Well, I'd love to save the animals. We're all about saving the animals.
People ask me. I work in an environment that is basically non-Christian. There are some who are, but they know I'm vegetarian, and they say, "What are you trying to? You trying to save the animals? What's the big deal here?" I say, I just want to feel better. I feel better when I don't eat meat. I'm 79 years old, go in another month, and I can outperform most of the young bucks there.
No, those whippersnappers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do I look like I'm suffering from something?
No.
That's just one thing that
You do
you
look
can't
a
get.
little gaunt.
Yeah.
Just
You
kidding.
can't survive without eating meat. Well, I tell them we don't eat meat because we need protein. We eat meat because we like it, period. That's why we eat meat.
That's what
So
that's
you
what
can
Tom
get
was
protein.
saying.
I was talking to my wife. She's a home ec teacher, and she studied nutrition. She tells me there is protein in 95% of what we eat, regardless of what it is.
Peas,
Well,
vegetables have a lot of protein.
There's protein in everything.
Imagine for
The
a
right
minute.
combinations,
It's the
if you do it
B12.
right, you don't need meat.
Well, we know through studies that vegetarians live longer if you do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine for a minute the vegetarian diet is not the perfect diet because it's not. We're all dying anyways. It gives us about 7 to 10 years longer.
Perhaps.
We still die. So it's still not the perfect diet. So
Yeah.
why do it?
Yeah.
Why not eat your meat, just have fun? Well, there's a good reason for that. Because we're instructed in the spirit of prophecy, and I believe the Bible too. The Ezekiel message really is where you're going to get that from. Is that in these last days, this vegetarian diet has been given to mankind. And we're instructed to do it to clarify our minds, to prepare us for the battle to come, to the spiritual battle to come. And it helps us to get closer in tune with God. I know it does me. I struggle a little bit less. But the point of what I'm trying to say here is there's a villainization of the Christian, of the last day Christian church, the Seventh Adventist church. I believe that to be the Seventh Adventist church with all my heart. But also, there's also this idea that if you speak against, let's say, Trump, because we talk about politics a little bit here, and we talk about the dangers of being involved in one party or the other. And if you're speaking out against Trump, then all of a sudden, automatically, you're not for America. You are against America, and it's against its ideals, against Christianity. You're against all these things, when it's just not simple. This is just not true. And you're sort of lumped with this woke crowd, what there's a growing hatred towards, right? Because that represents everything evil and everything bad. And with a sleight of hand, I feel like that's going to be all placed on us.
Well, you look at Roger Morneau's book. He says that in his dialogue and contact with the Satanist groups that he was involved with, that I forgot my train of thought.
About them identifying them as that you don't want to have any dealings with the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Oh yeah, basically the church that Satan hates the most is the Adventist Church.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what is his goal? To seek and destroy.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, do you feel uncomfortable being an Adventist and having to toe the line like other people don't have to toe?
I used to.
Yeah.
Way back when I used to, yeah.
I have had my moments,
Yeah.
where I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah. But on the positive side, what good has it done for you?
Oh, I'm long life, healthy life.
Happy?
My son used to ask me, why do you go out and run? You going to prolong your life by 3 days? And I said, no, I'm going to feel better while I'm here.
Yeah. And then another thing that I was thinking about while you were talking, try to keep it on there, but I used to be the spiritual vice president of my high school, and I was required to give a small sermonette every Wednesday morning in chapel. And I can still remember, and it's stuck with me ever since the Lord put it in my mind to say it. It's like when Noah, came through the time that he was in the ark, there was no vegetables and things around to eat. So God gave
That's
them.
when God allowed,
God gave them the meat, and basically to shorten their life. Okay, because they went from being 800 years.
That's when man's lifespan became.
Yeah.
Yes.
So back down to 70. Okay, but I told
How old is 70?
a score is 20.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about 70 years
70
old.
years.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
living on borrowed time.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
What I was going to say, and I'll turn it back to you guys, is I told the whole student body, it says, yeah, it was okay with God, and around the Noah time that you eat meat. But that's not the point. As we get closer to the end, meat is going to become more and more and more unsafe
That's it.
to eat.
Yes.
Okay.
Are they shooting it up with all kinds of stuff?
Oh, tons of it. Yeah.
Are they even probably vaccinating our meat?
Growth hormones.
One way or another,
know-
they're going to get that in us.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said growth hormone. Do you know the one protein that human beings share with all animals? One animal. There's a protein that is shared. Cows' growth hormone is identical to human growth hormone.
So what's the
Okay.
implications of this?
So basically, when you drink cow's milk and you eat the meat and stuff like that, you get the growth hormone that actually, does cause some precociousness because it's identical protein, and your body won't reject it because it's
So it
just
accepts
like you.
it, boom,
Yeah,
automatically.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way for them to get whatever.
yeah.
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 Wow.
So, and then of course you've got all these things that are coming out on the news that they're actually vaccinating. You take care of your cows, your group of animals, and if it takes, the veterinarian to come out and give them shots, vitamins, whatever it might be, they're actually giving them vaccines that are based on mRNA now.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you do eat beef, you're probably getting a healthy dose of spike protein.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, spike protein is highly inflammatory. You're going to end up with these people like you see on the news that had all these clots
Yeah.
I mean, the morticians are finding clots up to
But
3
you see
feet long.
you see the long stringy stuff that's causing the
Yeah,
clots.
yeah. And I'm not saying one way or the other, but it does link together that if you eat meat these days, you have no idea whether it's safe or not.
Yeah.
And I know people are going to question, even myself. Well, we can't trust the vegetables either, or the fruit, because who knows what they're
Oh,
spraying on them and all
Thank
the
God
other
for
stuff.
the home garden. We live on what we grow. I mean,
But not everyone.
not
Has
everyone has the capability of doing that. I understand that, but it is a plus.
Of
if you
course,
can.
it's a plus. If I could, I would. Believe me.
We're doing good. We're doing real good. This is good discussion. I like free flowing discussion. So
But
wherever it goes, it
anyway,
goes.
too. I'm sorry, I didn't finish what I was thinking. But aren't we right here? Isn't the Bible like basic instructions before leaving Earth? Aren't we supposed to right now? Right now is our second chance to get ready to be citizens in God's kingdom. Mm-hmm. And shouldn't we be practicing right here to get in line with the citizenship up in heaven?
Do you mean we want to eat meat in heaven?
It talks about how things are happen. No, nothing's going to be killed in heaven.
No death.
No death.
No chicken McNuggets?
No.
I don't know if I can handle that.
Chasing around
But
chickens.
the thing of it is we're supposed to go back to the original diet. We're going back to Eden, right? Mm-hmm. And Eden, what was the original diet?
Plants.
Yeah. Fruits and vegetables. And that's
Well,
what we're returning
Why
to.
would we want to be in a heaven where we're hunting down animals and
It would be
know.
killing it. It'd be animalistic.
Now, on the other hand, I have a friend who's an avid hunter. He doesn't buy beef.
Venison.
He venison and elk.
yeah,
That's
and
his source. That's his protein source.
that's probably
and his reasoning is that it's superior
natural.
to what you buy in the store.
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah, and here's a caveat. I mean, listen, none of us here are against hunting. We're not doing the vegetarian diet to preserve. In fact, hunting in North America actually preserves game and wildlife. And that seems counterintuitive, but it's all of the fundings of the licenses and all the money that goes towards the hunting efforts that actually creates habitat for wild ducks and geese and deer and different things like that. And game actually flourishes under, when they're being hunted under regulations and stuff. And it keeps the populations healthy, and a lot of times it'll weed out the sick and stuff. So there are some benefits to that. Like you mentioned, this guy's eating wild game. That's just a little bit step ahead of a lot of the commercialized food. Now think about this: when you're eating a hamburger, there's a lot of scare about prions and stuff like that, the way they process the meat. And maybe Paul can explain what a prion is. But basically it's an abnormal protein, right?
Yeah, it's protein that kind of gets itself up against your normal proteins and denatures them.
Ooh.
It's very dangerous, and it'll create like an encephalitis, and which is holes in the brain, and so you basically get mad cow. And there's actually a guy, a rancher here in Montana, that has a website called Mad Cowboy. And I met the guy, Howard Lyman. He's a really nice guy. Met him when I lived in California. And he went on Oprah and talking about the evils of the beef industry. Wow. And he got big time trouble for that. And they even went up against Oprah. Of course, she's got, money like crazy. So she put an end to that. But my point is when you go get a hamburger, you're not just eating the hamburger of one cow. You're eating the hamburger of probably 50 or 60 or more cows, because they process all these scraps in these great big processing plants, and they're all mixed together. So the chances of getting prions is times 50 or 100 every time you eat a hamburger, And if there is a problem in the meat, it's going to be all throughout the meat. Very dangerous now to be consuming these things. Much better if you have a farm, like the Amish and stuff. You raise your own beef, you raise your own cattle, you go hunting, but then there's the problem of chronic wasting disease. There's all these issues.
But, and I do believe in Ellen White, and I believe she is a prophet, and she does say that we need to get back to the original diet. which was in the
Took her
beginning.
a long time to get off
Yes,
of meat.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
she felt like if she didn't eat meat, she was going to
Yeah.
Well,
be
can
unhealthy.
you
And
imagine
a
it
lot of
back
people
then? Yeah.
are in that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real problem. I mean, I know when we decided to go vegetarian, well, Lisa decided to go vegetarian. She was just like, one day we're like eating BLTs, and then the next day it's just grilled veggies, and it was hardcore.
That's struples.
You can train.
It was cold turkey, man.
You can train your taste buds. I am a firm believer in that because I was a meat and potatoes guy. I loved it.
You still
I
can
d-
eat potatoes, can't you?
Oh yeah, but I walk by a barbecue cooking a steak and I'm drooling. I mean, it smells good. It tastes good.
It still smells good. I smell barbecues,
But
and I'm like, oh.
The alternatives now, I'm finding since I've been doing that for several years, they all taste better. I don't know what it is. but
I know
think
you
it's
weren't raised like
training the
that,
taste
but
buds.
Yeah.
you know what? I do. I'll eat a black bean burger. They are just awesome.
Yeah,
You know,
whatever.
I love a black bean burger.
Yeah.
I don't, so my friend, he gives me a taste of some elk, some wild elk, processed wild elk, and I don't know. I used to love venison. That was our favorite fare. I mean, we could live on venison easily. I remember when what's his name cooked some venison up there in Yellowstone, and he gave us all a bite. It tasted dark and ugly, and it just didn't taste like it used to taste. And I tasted something different this time. And I wonder if our taste buds become perverted over time.
It's all
And-
those TV dinners that the deer are eating. You know, that's just the way it is. It makes bad meat
they're
now
not-
these days.
That almost sounds like a Far Side cartoon.
That's probably
Don't get
The
me
only one
started.
fake meat that I've tried that I liked, and that's the Morningstar veggie buffalo wings.
Oh my!
Oh, they're so good, but that's the only thing.
There is a problem, and I've confronted this when I first started hearing about vegetarianism and the benefits of it. Our pastor had us over for dinner on a Sabbath after church, and he said, "Here, try this. It tastes just like beef." Well, I'm sorry, it came right out of a can, and it did not taste anything like beef. That's a problem. We're trying to market this stuff as tasting like beef.
yeah,
It
though-
doesn't.
yeah, exactly
It
right.
does. It's totally
Yeah.
different.
It's
When
totally
when I bring somebody vegetarian food, you know, to try, I preface the whole thing by this: don't expect it to taste like what we're calling it.
That's right.
I mean, if it's beef stripples or whatever it is, it's vegetarian and it's not going to taste like
It's
beef.
not even going
Yeah,
to taste
yeah,
like
yeah.
it. It's not the same texture or anything.
These little plastic hot dogs, I call them. I cannot abide those. They taste like nothing I even want to ingest. I had a teacher when I was in college, taught furniture construction, and he was showing us this new called a uniplane. It takes the place of a jointer with that rotating drum, and they're very dangerous if you aren't careful. Well, this one had a side cutter that went around like this, and it had little teeth in it. And he said he tried it with a hot dog, and pushed a hot dog through like you might push your finger through accidentally, and took a little nick. That's all it did.
Oh my!
He said he tried it with one of those vegetarian hot dogs, and all it did was dull the blade.
You know, though, I knew this Adventist, and his family cooks and all that. They're you know, do vegan quite well, but family, the daughters, the mom, and all that cook. And I know they made roast like out of beans, out of. Then they had used a slicer and slice it up. And I tell you what, those sandwiches were like the best. I could.
Oh yeah, Ruth makes
I could live off those puppies.
Ruth makes a loaf that she slices, and it's like it has the consistency of meatloaf. Tastes nothing like meatloaf, but she's got seasonings in it and nuts and onions and really good tasting stuff. Best sandwiches I ever ate.
So there was a product, and you remember Tess, and she fed us these burritos. And she goes, "Oh, it's vegetarian. It got vegetables." She goes, "It's got vegetables in it." She was Filipino, Filipina, I guess is a woman, Filipino, yeah, Filipina, and she cooked these burritos, and I took a bite, and I'm eating it, and it's got the texture and the taste of shredded beef. And she said, and I'm thinking, she said it's got vegetables in it.
Besides what?
Yeah, and then I took another bite, and I'm like, "No, this is meat." And I'm like, "Tess, this is vegetarian, right?" She goes, "Oh, lots of vegetables. And I'm like, "Lots of vegetables." She just still didn't say it was all vegetables. And I'm like eating it again. And I'm like, "Holy cow! This is meat."
What's this vegetable?
Or beef or something in here.
There is something in there. I said, "Tess, there's meat." I finally said, "There's meat in this burrito, isn't there?" She goes, "No." She holds the box up. She goes, it's mushroom. It's mushrooms. And it was shredded mushroom. It had the texture and the taste of beef.
Well, that's what
I
they
could
do a
not
lot.
believe it.
Wow.
That's a rarity.
And I read the ingredients. It's very simple. I've never found that box since. I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah.
Any of you guys out there know what it's called? Please let me know, because I'm going to buy some more.
So what else is out there that the people are thinking about Adventists that's going to
Well,
put us down?
Yeah, going back.
It's going to be, I think, this climate thing. The New York Times printed an article, and they were quoted as saying, when we see what's happened to Maui because of global warming, these things, if we don't change now, these things will be happening more and more often.
And we know that's how the Sunday law is going to come about. And it's going to be the right wing, let's get back to God. And it's going to be these Protestants who's pushing all the judges to...
Prophecy tells us that there will be signs in the stars and in the planets and in the weather. And these things are going to happen more frequently. So the frequency is going to increase and the intensity is going to increase. That is going to happen whether we go totally green or not.
Well, and
it doesn't matter. It's prophesied that it will happen.
And Ellen White talks about how Satan actually does these, what we were talking about with the earthquakes and tornadoes that go about it. But the people are going to go, "Oh, we need to get back to God," just like they're going to do. And we need the earth needs a Sabbath day. Oh, and the Christians want it too, because we need to be worshiping. We need to be getting back to Sunday worship.
The Pope has already started talking about a day of rest for the earth.
He's been talking about it, and it's been in quiet, but it's starting to come out.
That's right.
He's doing Laudato Si 2.
And guess what day he's going to choose?
Sunday.
He's
And
already
if you're
chosen
and if you're not going to obey that, and then we know that God's judgment starts beginning after the mark of the beast, which we know is the Sunday law. So then you're starting to get God's judgments, and they're looking, oh, it's because these people aren't keeping Sunday.
That's right.
And if anybody out there thinks, because the right-wing party typically right now is not in support of this climate change stuff, but just like a blink of an eye, remember the vaccine was rolled out, Operation Warp Speed, and that was Trump that rolled it out. And just like that, in a flip of a switch, now it's Biden's vaccination, because everything switched, and everybody was for it, or now it against it, and everybody was against it, and now it's for it. And it was just, we're just a bunch of sheep out there. So
Easy sheep.
And just a flip of the switch. All it takes is for Trump to mention climate change and how important it is to start, understanding and following.
And everyone's going to go with
common sense rules.
And back to Sunday.
And
we're
just
getting
like
back
that,
Sunday, our
just
Christian
like that,
roots.
he'll have the whole right-wing party on his side.
Yeah.
And now those left-wingers will now be the enemy of God, because they're not keeping the day of rest, who's also letting the climate
But
rest.
see, they don't really care about the left wingers.
And they're also vegetarians, those evil vegetarians, and they're also
I would be curious to know, I have my own suspicion, what percentage of those in our national government are Roman Catholic?
Well,
And
how
my
about our
guess-
Supreme Court?
Oh, I was
It
thinking the
is
same thing.
over 90%, I guarantee you.
Mm-hmm.
So how hard is it going to be to turn that switch?
And
No,
and look at
not
what
at
just
all.
happened.
It's easy.
Latin
It's-
America
and
is
it
highly
is
Catholic,
being-
right? Down in South America. Well, where are they now? They came over the border, and they are basically really, changing the whole statistics on Catholics in America.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're changing the demographics to mimic more of the image of the beast.
Yeah.
All of the time.
So how many Supreme Court members are Catholic?
I think it's 9 of them.
It's
9 out of how many are there?
There are 9, but I think it's more like 8. But
There was a Jewish guy supposedly on there, and at least they've got the majority.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
And they've
I
had
was just curious because I thought maybe there was only 2 that weren't, but the
yeah.
rest were Catholic.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
It's interesting. At one time, they were all Protestant.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also interesting.
And that was the way it was meant to be. What does Protestant mean anyway?
Yeah, protesting
The what?
the papacy and what it was doing over in Europe.
And now we're doing what?
Yeah, and you're good at asking that question because how many people really know what a Protestant is
That's
anymore?
a question I ask my Sunday keeping friends. What is a Protestant? And most of the time, you get this blank look.
Oh, it's
Never thought of that.
It's a type of.
It's a Christian. We're
But
Christian.
then sometimes you get the answer, well, we're protesting against the Church of Rome. And I've heard that, but not very often.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, then exactly what about the Church of Rome are you protesting? Because you're keeping Sunday, the first day of the week.
And it's insanity because it's the Protestant churches that are going to the Supreme Courts and the judges pushing for Sunday, pushing the church's agenda.
And let me ask you guys a question. Every time one of these Supreme Court justices get elected, what is
They
the
don't get
debate
elected.
always, or what's the process? Appointed. Sorry. What is the process that they go through? Is the conversation about whether or not they're Protestant or Catholic, or is the conversation whether or not they're conservative or liberal?
That's
what
the
they
conversation. That's the conversation. Depends on the party in charge at the time.
And this is all
And
a
that's-
smoke screen to
it's
just
stacking.
blind us.
Yeah.
See how the Jesuits work?
They're
It's
smart.
tricky,
They're
buddy.
sneaky.
It's tricky.
They are sneaky.
You know, and everybody's all focused on, oh, Kavanaugh, he's gonna vote correctly. He's gonna vote against abortion. He's gonna vote against this and that, and and they're missing the point.
Yeah.
He's Catholic. Satan is aligning all of the people in a row to be able to fashion the circumstances to his liking in the last days. Now, of course, God is in charge, right?
God is in charge.
He's ultimately in charge. He knows what's happening. It's been prophesied. We can count on the Bible.
It's going to happen. It has to happen.
It will all
It's gonna
come
happen
out in the
exactly
light.
No
like
matter
God
what.
says.
Yep. It has to happen.
We're speculating to a large degree on
Exactly how.
exactly how.
Yeah.
Some of
Because
these
we
things,
don't really know exactly.
We don't. Maybe some of our speculations will come around. Maybe not. We're not an absolute here.
Do you know I had this conversation with Ruth last night? She's reading this book about our forefathers and how they looked at the second coming of Christ as being imminent in their lifetime. And through the years,
That's changed.
it really hasn't, because we think it's going to happen like that. We think we see the signs. We may have another 100 years. We may have another 1,000 years. I don't know how long it's going to take.
I don't think so.
But our goal is
no
to
way.
live in such a way that it's tomorrow.
I see where you're going with this. Even if it is another 100 years, we need to live like it's tomorrow.
There's a scariness in that 100 years. People going, oh, we still got 100
Yeah, we
years.
still got time.
I still got 100 years to party.
Yeah.
I get to do all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but I don't think we have 100 years.
I know we
think
don't.
we're right there at the cusp. I really think this year's election, this is just what I think. Who cares what I think, right? But I really think this year's election is going to be telling. There's some.
I
things-
agree. It's going to be
stuff's gonna
huge,
start
and it's going
happening.
to go to the right, and it's going to go.
It could be.
big time.
But
It
we're
could
out
be,
of
but
we're
we
out of
don't
time,
know.
guys.
Yeah.
We got to go set up for church. But thanks.
right.
We should do these
I have
when we
buttons
have
to
more
push.
time, because these could go on for an hour or two.
Yeah.
What's that?
Pushing my
I have
buttons.
buttons to push out there. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
me
you got to
too,
set
so.
up buttons for this.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Hit that thumbs up. subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.
I love pushing yours too. You know,
Did you just wake up?